Welcome to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. Each week on this program, Jeff and his guests share their expertise, personal anecdotes, and the latest industry news to keep you in the loop. Now, to provide you with insight and help you navigate the consistently changing world of real estate lending, here is your host for The Mortgage Voice, Jeff Barton.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929. That's our telephone number. We get a lot of calls on mortgage questions, especially this time of year with what's going on in the mortgage marketplace. Rates going up? Are they going down? What's happening at the Fed? What's going on with the economy? Looks like the federal government will be open for the next couple of weeks, so that's good. Maybe we can get this funding or non-funding or whatever border security means to you, me, and the guy down the street. Obviously, that means something different to everybody, kind of like what the mortgage business is like. I mean, if you're out there right now and you need a mortgage because you want to buy a house, right? Real estate looks like it's going to flatten out a little bit in prices. Looks like there'll be more inventory, at least in the first quarter of 2019. So if you're out there and you're looking and you found some place and you're trying to figure out what kind of mortgage you can get, you got to talk to somebody, whether it's me or whether it's any number of other great professionals out there. We have a lot of them on the show that don't work for Malibu Funding. Malibu Funding, as everyone knows, is the sponsor of this show, and that's who I work for. Their NMLS number is 79620. I appreciate their support, but we also bring in a lot of other different mortgage brokers, people in the industry, people who you could listen to more than you might listen to me. You have to find somebody out there who's going to help you in your decision-making process. In that process, there's the main element is the lenders are looking for how you're going to pay that loan back. Now, I've come across a number of different scenarios in loans that did not exist 5 years ago, 2 years ago. These are the dreaded stated loans, the loans that look just at your bank accounts, the loans that are looking for equity in the deal and a okay FICO score. There are all these kind of loan scenarios in the non-QM space, okay? And what does that really mean? It means that if you're not an ideal W-2 borrower with 20% down, which is what every major lender wants in their portfolio of mortgage-backed securities that they sell to the secondary market, or they sell those loans to Fannie and Freddie Mac. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. If you're not those types of borrowers, there are a lot of new products out there. And quite frankly, I think it's good for a lot of people who do not fit regularly into what they call a very conservative box. However, there are some difficulties in the secondary market with those types of loans. Why? Because there is a score that is given for those types of people who have those types of loans. And those scores are credit risk scores. Those credit risk scores are then used to underwrite the loan and determine your rate. And also determine on the secondary market, usually the rate is about how am I going to sell this loan to somebody else? Because most people, even the large lenders, they don't hold on to the loans unless they're primo, perfect, and looks like you're going to be in there for at least 7 to 10 years. And why do I say that? Because everybody wants to push risk off onto somebody else, whether it's you as the borrower trying to push the risk of rentals going up year after year because you want to get a 30-year fixed rate loan so you know what your payments are each and every week. Now, we all know that rents have gone up in San Bernardino and Riverside quite a bit in the last 5 to 7 years. And where are they going to go next year? So really, wouldn't you much rather have a 7 to 10 year or a 30-year fixed payment so you know your payments are the same each and every day? That's pushing the risk of raising your rent off onto a lender who's going to lend you money for the property. Well, that lender in turn looks at you and says, okay, you are this type of borrower, therefore your risk profile is this, therefore we can offer you this rate. Now that rate is also then used as that lender sells that mortgage risk off to somebody else, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or some other third party that's going to both service the loan and also hold the loan in a portfolio. Those portfolio loans are then bundled together with other portfolio loans and sold as bonds on the secondary market. Okay, that's how risk gets passed on from person to person to person. And it's all fine and good right now. I'm worried a little bit about stated loans. Now, they're out there right now, and if you're looking around for somebody who's going to give you a loan on a stated product, i.e., this is what I say I'm making, this is what I say I'm worth, this is what I say my assets are. Now, those loans normally have 25 to 30% cash in the deal, meaning that you come to the table, you want to buy a house, it's $100,000, you got to come to the table with $30,000, therefore you're going to get a $70,000 loan. There's less risk for somebody who's going to loan like that. Now, if you are in different scenarios, let's say you have an ability to repay, you've got a 24-month bank statement, you've got 720 to 750 FICO scores, well, you're going to get a better rate. And it may be less in the deal. Maybe you have to put 80 or maybe 20% or 15% in the deal. Really depends on you. But that risk in the marketplace is real. Now, we're entering into a situation, as I said in last week's show, that we're going to be looking probably at a downturn in the economy the end of this year, 2019, into the middle, to 2020. Now, I say this, I'm not the only one say it. Go online, look at any prognostications based on what's happening in the marketplace, and you're going to see the same things, right? So if that is true and we do go into a downturn, these type of loans that are out there in the marketplace, if real estate values dip, now last time they dipped, depending on the area, now in San Bernardino Riverside, they went down, some properties went down 60%. Now, I don't think it's going to happen like that this time. I believe that the market, in terms of its the jobs and the jobs that people are working, the construction industry, agriculture, a lot of different fronts in the economy look strong. And I don't think it's going to be hit as hard. I think the stock market might be hit, but be honest with yourself. How many of you are invested in the stock market out there? You're driving around, you're paying your monthly mortgage payments, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Are you invested in the stock market? The answer to that is probably no. But I can guarantee you that the hedge on these loans is in the stock market. Now, what do I mean by that? If a company has a ton of these loans, right, these types of loans, and they're looking to offset losses if they occur in a bad economy, where are they going to put their money in terms of trying to protect against any kind of downturn in the economy? Well, you're going to put it in assets like gold. You're going to put it in assets like the stock market, in certain index funds, because you want to make sure that if the downturn comes and what you thought was 30% equity in a deal turns out to be 5% equity in the deal, then your risk on that particular loan pool is a heck of a lot higher. You want to make sure that you're offsetting that particular risk with some kind of hedge. That's what they call a hedge. It's really, it's like a gamble, right? So you're putting it on red, but you're also putting some on black. And you're putting it on the even, but you're also putting some on the odd if you're playing roulette. And the only reason I bring up Vegas, and you're laughing, Daryl, is because I was out there recently, and I did throw a few coins down here and there. So I understood risk and how they assess risk in Vegas. What? Oh, he's giving me the 2-minute sign. So if you're out there and you're thinking about a product, think about how your loan is going to affect the overall health of the marketplace. Because, hey, we're all in this together. If we get another downturn like we had in 2008, we're in trouble. I don't think we're going there. I don't think real estate prices are going to fall by 60%. Now, they may fall by 15 to 20%. I can see that happening. And the other thing, so I'm driving down here to come to the show, and I was just telling Daryl how lucky I felt, and I was in a car riding around, and I was on a paved road. Now, you may not think that these are luxuries, but, 2/3 of the world are still, barefoot and walking on dirt roads and carrying water to and from the river to their house. Don't think that's true? It is true. A lot of the places in both India and China where 2/3 of the world's population is live like that. It's poverty-driven. It's difficult. Now, it's not to say that they're unhappy. It's just to say that according to our standards here in the West, especially here in the San Bernardino Riverside area, hey, I drive a car, I'm happy, I feel blessed, I'm driving on a paved road, I can buy lunch, I can enjoy my family, I have a cell phone. All these things we take for granted is not taken for granted by many people in the world. And so to bring that up, to know that our standard of living, even if we did have a 15 to 20% fall in the real estate, is still pretty high. So understanding what product you want, who to talk to, and then looking at the overall of what your loan and your prospects of paying that loan off is the risk that the lender takes, you take, the secondary market takes, and that the entire economy is really dependent on us trusting that each of us is going to do our small part to try to keep the whole thing going. Anyway, I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your voice in the mortgage industry, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. For more information on today's topic, email Jeff Barton at info@malibufunding.net. Now, back to The Mortgage Voice with your host, Jeff Barton.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, 888-713-2929. That's our telephone number if you pick up the phone and give us a call. If you have questions, and this is the time of year to get those questions answered, because spring buying season is coming sooner and nearer each and every day. We're almost into February. The tax returns can be filed now. It looks like the shutdown is over, at least for a few weeks. So if you need your tax returns and you need them to get in, do it now. But if you need questions about what kind of product you can qualify for, give us a call. And if I can't help you, I'll certainly get you to somebody who can help you. We bring to the show, and we've done it for years, people in the marketing area and also interesting entrepreneurs who develop business ideas through what's happening online. And today is no exception. James Monteith from JWN Marketing has graciously accepted to come on the show and talk about what he's doing and how he's doing it. James, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Thanks. Excellent. Okay. I have been searching and I guess uselessly searching for someone who's got the keys to the castle when it comes to internet marketing. And in certain aspects, I think you do. Explain to our audience what you do and how you're doing that for me or anybody else that would care to use your services.
Well, I consider myself an accelerated business relationship builder, and I use LinkedIn in particular to do this. So what I do for my clients is I build them a database of very targeted and relevant people, a list. Okay, their first connections.
Right.
And that ends up being very valuable, because, the old saying, the money's in the list, right?
Right. No, I've never heard that. That's good. That's very good.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot, it's been said all over the place, but it's true, and relevant people, to talk to that are more likely to want what your service or product is the key. And, what I do is I actually, invite upwards of 3,000 individuals that are targeted each month, to my clients' LinkedIn pages, Mm-hmm. And then I direct message once a week to all the people that accepted the previous week. And this stirs up activity. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get phone appointments.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, as an example, I work with a lot of mortgage loan officers.
Right.
And I build them, databases of realtors so that they can form those relationships with the realtors and then, get referrals. And then they can send referrals back. And everybody's happy.
Now, in the list building, trying to develop a relationship between people, how quickly that happens, usually these things take time, right? I'm assuming that that's built into the model here, that you're looking at a certain distance between the start and where somebody can comfortably pick up the phone and say, hey, how you doing today? Something like that.
Well, you'd be surprised many times because LinkedIn is a business-based platform.
Right.
People expect to talk about things like that pretty quickly. It's different than, say, other platforms that aren't so business-based. And if something hits your hot button as a business,
mm-hmm.
you're going to want to talk. And that's kind of the difference. But yeah, I mean, in certain instances, instead of just blatantly asking for a phone number right away, during direct messaging, you might say something like, are you interested, or something to that effect first to find out the interest level, and then start talking about, hey, we can set up a time for a call. I'd love to hear more. That type of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a lot of us in business, and maybe you find this too, are trying to have what we do online, which we can really reach a lot of people quickly, and have it translate into something more than just conversation. The bridging of that gap is based on what in how you present what you do.
Right. Well, I will tell you, with what I do, I keep it short and simple. And, when I send messages for my clients, I don't send 5 paragraphs with all of the information outlined that you could think of, because, honestly, we're all business people.
Right.
And we're not going to read that. And so I try to keep it to, 3 or 4 sentences max.
Right.
And really, you're trying to, kind of hit the hot button,
Mm-hmm.
Tell them very briefly, how, you could be a solution for that problem, and then facilitate some sort of interaction, like a question, or you can go directly to let's talk and just say that. Very simple.
No, I like the simplicity of it, because I'm not that smart of a guy, and if it gets complex, I get lost in the details, because what I'm looking for really is a business connection. Can we do business together, one way or the other? I mean, it's a very simple, and how you get to that is what you're talking about.
Right, and whether people like it or not, a phone call really is very important. We have all this technology, but we're all people,
mm-hmm.
and we're forming relationships. And the phone call, or a Zoom conference, or something to that effect, establishes 3 things. It establishes likability.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the person, you might do business with them. Trust. Okay, you're always, when you get on the phone, you hear people's mannerisms.
Right.
And you figure out relatively quickly, if you right down to the business aspect. Okay, those 3 things can be evaluated much quicker by phone talking to someone, because you could go back and forth in messaging for a little while, and it'd be kind of a time eater.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get on the phone with someone and you find out that you kind of don't, maybe they're not your cup of tea. Are you going to do business with them?
Right. Well,
maybe.
I mean, the fact of what you're trying to say is music to my ears. I'm an older guy, and I grew up with the telephone. Talking on the phone was the way to do business until 20 years ago, when everything began to change, and it seems to have reached that tipping point whereby that's all a lot of people in certain generations want to do. Getting back to the basics of trying to talk to somebody over the phone or in person is really what I think is critical to any kind of business relationship you're going to have.
Yeah, it establishes those points that I just spoke about.
Right.
And, it's you can slice it up, many ways with technology, but it all goes back to communication.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's and the best form of communication is actually hearing someone and how they're talking and thinking real time, instead of hiding behind,
mm-hmm.
the computer. But that being said, I use LinkedIn for my clients as a tool to provide them the warm conversations of people that are the most likely to want what they have business-wise, and also are interested and say, yeah, let's talk, let's have a phone call. and you can already see from someone's profile relatively what they do.
Right.
And you briefly explained how your service is the solution for their problem.
James, great information. Could you give the audience your telephone number in case somebody is interested in speaking to you about what you do?
Yeah, sure. It is 229-292-5149.
So it's 229-292-5149.
Correct.
Excellent. James Monteith of JWM Marketing. Hey, thanks very much for coming on the show. I want to have you back. This is great information.
Well, I appreciate it. It was my pleasure.
Thank you very much. And I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. For more information on today's topic, email Jeff Barton at info@malibufunding.net. Now, back to The Mortgage Voice with your host, Jeff Barton.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929. That's a telephone number. If you pick up the phone and give us a call, we can help you with your mortgage questions, anything related to real estate. Maybe you want to ask a question about a vendor. How do I fix this? What kind of sub would I need on my property if I want to fix it up and sell it? All these kind of things, these questions surrounding real estate and mortgages are certainly things that we handle each and every day at the Mortgage Voice. And if you want to give us a call, please do. The email is info@malibufunding.net. And I'm Jeff Barton, and the show is recorded. We're on KCAA, KMET, K-Tahoe. Daryl, are we down in New Mexico yet?
Next week.
Next week. And what's the call letters down there?
Don't know yet.
Okay. It's TB determined.
Yeah, KTBD.
KTBD. Very good. So we'll soon be down there. We're also, as I said, on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, look up Jeff Barton, the real estate, what is it? The real estate voice. The real estate. Jeff Barton, the real estate voice on YouTube. There's probably 50, 75, 150 shows there that you can see what we do if you missed today's show or you want to catch up with one of the guests that will be on the show. Usually we try to put the guests, their picture and their phone number underneath. So if you did want to see it, you can definitely see it on YouTube. And also, KMET and KCAA, they both carry the feed during the show times, which are on, I believe it's Saturday and Sunday each week, and we also, I think, redo it on Tuesdays and Thursdays or something. What is it?
The original show's there, 8 a.m. on KMET in Banning and noon on KCAA.
Okay, great. So if you're out there and you're driving around and you're listening to the show today, just know that you can catch anything we're saying, or you want to see what we're doing, please go to go to the stations or go to YouTube. Daryl.
They're also archived on their websites.
Yes, okay, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. We do, from time to time, get some extremely interesting information. We certainly try to entertain each and every week and bring up topics that are both relevant and useful for you out there in the marketplace. We had on the show already James Monteith, who will, a very interesting guy talking about LinkedIn. And what I wanted to do is to tell you my little bit of a advertising story. So in January, each and every year, and if you're in business or maybe even personally, you get a lot of bombardment from different websites, certainly from different social media sites, and even your email, possibly your cell phone, from people trying to sell you stuff, right? And they're trying to sell you based on whatever analytics they're doing, or they're just buying a list and blasting out to anybody. Lord knows I've done both, so I know exactly what you're subjected to when you're getting phone calls, whether it's a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, somebody trying to sell you a product, all of these particular ways to reach you. So in your drive around or however you're receiving these messages, what I do when I get them is I hit delete, or I, whatever it is, don't answer the call, or call them back and scream at them. And you've probably done one of three of those things, because we've all been subjected to that particular annoying thing that happens, especially if you're in a bad mood. You're going to get back in touch with these people and tell them to stop doing that. Okay, so in my life as a business person, and even as the mortgage voice, I have been inundated with the newest and the best, and it happens every January. So the story here is I was gotten in touch with by people who are using Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or Alignable or, any number of other sites, getting in touch with me with the newest, the latest, the greatest. And James talked about it. And here's what it is from my standpoint. I don't know anything about this stuff. I mean, I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? Because when you're in it, it's like Bitcoin. You kind of know what it is, but you don't really know what it is. You don't know what you're buying. You're just hoping it goes up and you can sell it and make some money. I mean, that's, real estate, you know what that is. You can see the house. You can see the comparable down the street that's sold. Okay, yeah, I can kind of gauge my house to that house, so you kind of know, all right, my house is worth this because it's a little bit different than that one, but because it's got X, Y, and Z more or X, Y, and Z less, now I can gauge my price by what they're buying and selling. But when it comes to things like Bitcoin or marketing, advertising, especially online, it's very hard to quantify. I'm a business. I need to advertise. How am I going to do it? I've come to a place whereby I'm willing to try almost anything as long as it's reasonably priced and it's for a short duration and I'm not locked into a long-term contract. Kind of like the cell phone contract that used to be, right? You used to have to sign a 2-year deal. You don't sign anything anymore. You're month to month, and they almost give you the phone now. If you go to T-Mobile, they'll give you a phone if you just sign up with them and use the phone. They have family plans. Anyway, so that's kind of how I view internet marketing and how it's targeted towards me. So I get a bunch of calls. This is the skinny on what's happening online. Because of the way Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and any number of other sites that amass huge amounts of data on you specifically, but also you as a type, you as a person who fits the profile of a million other people or 10 other people or whatever it is, the subset of you as a person, male, female, whatever your ethnic background, and where you live. These are the basic profiles everybody has. And then the subsets, whatever you buy online, which, by the way, is tracked, whether you buy a lot on Amazon, whether you buy a lot on YouTube, whether you buy a lot on any number of these sites, all of this information is bought and sold. So Facebook got into a bunch of trouble this year or last year as a result of that, and they had to trot Zuckerberg around both into the U.S. Congress and to the European Union and explain, okay, what are you doing with this data, and how come you didn't tell anybody, and how do we opt out of it? And, they fined him. Whatever it was, it didn't matter. The guy's worth $100 billion. He personally is worth, I think the company itself is probably worth close to $1 trillion. And by the way, if you stacked $1 trillion, one on top of the other, it would reach the moon, whereas $1 million would only go about 200 or 300 feet high. That's how much $1 trillion is. So getting back to the advertising and how advertising works online is that this information about you is bought and sold. It's bought and sold in such a way that the tagline currently with all of these marketers, when they pitch me, I'm a business guy, I'll believe anything once, they say to me, you know what? I can predict where you're going to eat in 2 weeks. That's the pitch line. Think about that, the power of saying something like that. And of course, the first thing you're thinking about is, they can't do that. And then you're thinking, maybe they can do that. And then you're thinking, well, how do they do that? And then you're thinking, how can I get in on that, basically? So if you're out there and you're listening to me and you've been getting a lot of these pitches, right? I'm me, this is who I am, you got to buy me, or somebody's trying to contact you in any number of different areas that you exist online. This is why. It's gotten so sophisticated. So they tell me, again, this is part of the pitch, right? I don't know. I'm just a guy who uses all these things and believe what people who pitch. Heck, it could be a guy in his garage down the street just saying that. I don't really know. But I happen to believe that there is a way by which they can by the patterns of your online usage, by the way you use your cell phone, by the websites you visit, that you've established a footprint. And so, like anybody in the snow, if you walk in the snow and you go to a certain place all the time, you can absolutely see where the footprints are in that snow. It's very similar online. I don't know if it's sinister, but it is being used by companies to target you, to target me. I'm targeted all the time. So I'm going to join them rather than fight them. And I'm going to try to check it out and see if, in fact, this kind of advertising works. And I'll get back to you with the results of my personal exploration into it. I don't want to be annoying with it, but at the same time, if it works, maybe it's a good idea. Anyway, I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host here for The Mortgage Voice. I really appreciate you listening in, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. For more information on today's topic, email Jeff Barton at info@malibufunding.net. Now, back to The Mortgage Voice with your host, Jeff Barton.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929. That's our telephone number. Pick up the phone, give us a call, talk to us about your mortgage issues. Maybe you just want to ask a question about today's rates. By the way, today's rates are pretty good. So if you do want to purchase a home, now is a good time. It looks like rates will be pretty steady for a while at 4.5%. You can even get a government product even lower than that, and a short-term loan, 5, 7, 10-year adjustable rate mortgages, even lower than that. If you are looking for a great real estate agent and somebody to talk to in the state of Nevada, certainly in Clark County, Las Vegas, I have got somebody on the phone with me right now, Janti Chun. Janti, how are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm just great. Thank you very much. Janti, thank you very much again for coming on the television show out in Las Vegas. For those who are listening on the radio, we do the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and it's on each and every week on Channel 26, Retro TV in Las Vegas. Janti is with us to update us, as she did on the show, about what's going on in Las Vegas real estate.
Yes, hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Well, Las Vegas real estate is still good. I mean, we've just seen just a little price. It's just leveled out just a little bit. And my assumption and my opinion is because it's, the holidays now,
right.
Tax time coming back, coming up and stuff. So you don't have a lot of people buying at this time. But into, the spring, in my opinion, and what I can see in the market is, prices are going to start. Well, it's not going to increase, crazy, but
right.
it's still going to be, it's still going to increase. Basically, it's not going to decrease. Not in my opinion.
Right.
Simply because, once again, we have no supply right now in the whole entire market of Las Vegas Valley. There's only about 7,000 listings. Right,
and that's a population of about 2.5 million, right?
Absolutely, close to 2.5 million. We're looking at about 2.25 million.
Right.
Of population in the whole Las Vegas area. We're looking at 43,000 annually.
Right.
People moving into Las Vegas still, so we're still growing.
Wow. What's happening in the rental market? Because I know a lot of people want to check out Vegas before they buy there, right? I think a lot of people come there and they don't know if they like the weather, they don't know if they like the whole state of Nevada or the excitement of it. They don't know yet. So what is the rental market like for those people that want to try to get into the rental market now?
Right, people that want to just kind of test the waters
right.
in Las Vegas first.
Right.
They're not sure if they want to move here yet. The rental market is also we have a shortage as
right.
well in rentals. As soon as, and this has been happening for the last few years, 2 to 3 years, every time I show listings or rental listings to clients, there's not a lot, first of all,
right.
anyways. And each one would have, 3 or 4 or 5 applications on them. So they go very quickly. If you're looking to rent, you're going to have to look for it or do the search within that same month, basically, because a landlord will only hold a property up to 30 days. That's it, really. They won't hold it longer than that.
You see, and the listening audience here is thinking, what? People are going to hold the property for 30 days? You see, and it's so funny because a lot of California people want to move to Vegas, right? But the markets are so completely different. Don't you agree?
Yes, I believe so. I don't know a whole lot about the California market.
Right.
I haven't done any transactions there, but I'm assuming it's very different. California being a lot higher in everything, rental as well.
Right. Yeah, everything here in California is immediacy and lack of inventory, although inventory is expanding because, as you said, we're at that time of the year, and it looks like that, with rates rising, it slowed the market down, although rates did come down in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They were over 5%. Now they're down around 4.5% for a 30-year fix.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's a big decrease, huh?
It's a big decrease, right, and I think that's why we've seen a lot of uptick in mortgage applications, especially in the refinance area. Somebody who had a 5% loan a year ago would love to drop their payments and keep the property the same or get rid of mortgage insurance if they're close to the 80% threshold.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so you're also involved in a number of businesses in Las Vegas. Tell us a little bit about the entrepreneurial spirit, and if someone wanted to come out there and open a small business, what do you think the prospects of success are, or is it dependent on the person in the business and, other factors?
It really is dependent on a lot of different factors. If you want to come out to Las Vegas, there's definitely more commercial space in Las Vegas. We have, I want to say, 112 million square foot of commercial space.
Wow.
Vacancy rates for lease on commercial space has decreased slightly from last year. From last quarter, we're looking at about 6.7% decrease.
I see.
So there's definitely affordability as far as that part. So if you want to come out and open up a small business, obviously it depends on the location, depends on what type of business, depends on how much money you have to basically front the business.
Right.
Because as you know, every small business, it'll take you a year to 3 years, basically, right? You have to have enough money to be able to sustain and hang in there until the business starts making a lot of money.
Oh, I agree. I think running a small business, although it's your business and it's fun to do and it can be profitable, it's also extremely stressful if you're strapped for money.
Absolutely. You definitely need some income or some cash to back you up. And that's with everything. I do real estate investments as well, which is my favorite thing in the world.
Right.
It kind of goes along with the same line of real estate. But it's my favorite just because I know exactly what needs to be done. I know exactly how much money I need. I know exactly how much repairs are, how long it would take to flip it. So that's my favorite investment. And, I make sure I have the capital, though, to sustain myself during the bad times, because there are some bad times.
Now, did you learn that business via trial and error, or did you take a course? How did you learn what you're doing?
Well, yeah, it was all of that. I mean, it's good to learn these things by taking courses or studying or learning, but a lot of it is trial and error.
Right.
Because you can go to college and you can get a degree in whatever but until you actually get your hands dirty and you're doing it, you're not going to know exactly what needs to be done. Well, that's for me at least.
Right, I agree with you. There's one thing to go into, a hypothetical in a college course and try to open a business, run a business, but until you have something at risk, i.e. you're going to eat tonight or you got to sleep in the back of the store because you can't pay your rent, I mean, these are real things for small businesses.
Absolutely, yes. We've all been there.
Yes, we exactly right. So prognostications, where do you think the market will be heading this year? Do you think we're going to have more product on the market? Do you think that the building is going to finally catch up with demand in Vegas? What's happening?
Well, for 2019, the prediction is, the builders are out here basically in Las Vegas, and there's a lot of building. But the thing is, it's hard to catch up with, the influx of people still moving to Vegas very rapidly too. Like I said, 43,000 annually. So what is that, like over 4,000 a month?
Yeah, that's a lot of people. No, it's a lot. They all have to live somewhere.
Exactly, and they're staying too. So the building isn't catching up, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of supply still for 2019.
Okay, well that's interesting because what we've seen through the holidays, and maybe that's why, is that the growth in the number of properties on the market has gone from 5,000 to 7,000, right? So we probably, from what you're telling me, is going to go back down closer to 5,000 or maybe even less as the year rolls on and the spring buying season starts.
Yeah, I mean, the influx and, I mean, increase, decrease of properties on a monthly basis, it's basically, I mean, it's not huge. I mean, even 5,000, from 5,000 to 7,000 within a year, that's not a whole lot.
No, it's not. No, I mean,
Yeah.
like you say, the fluctuation from month to month is really what it is, because most people, when the kids get out of school, if they want to move, they're going to move. But they have to move before August when the kids go back to school. So you've got that buying season that's kind of 3, 4, 5 months, and so that's when inventory really shrinks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, even if we have the numbers of inventory doubling, that
Right.
would still be okay. You know, I mean,
Right.
it's, you know, our supply is still what we're at, still a month and a half. If you think about it, month and a half.
It's not that
basically.
long. Right.
Maybe, no, I mean, remember a stable market, we're looking at about 4 months minimum
That's
for a
right.
stable market.
That's
for
right.
Inventory.
Hey, Jean-T, can you shout out your phone number for people who are listening to the show who want a terrific agent, somebody to educate them about the market out there in Las Vegas?
Absolutely. For the most terrific agent in Las Vegas,
Yay.
call me. 702-467-3131.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate you once again coming on the show and also for coming on the TV show. This has been Jean-T Chun, and she's a terrific real estate agent entrepreneur from Las Vegas. Thanks, Jean-T.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
too. Bye. And I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. For more information on today's topic, email Jeff Barton at info@malibufunding.net. Now, back to The Mortgage Voice with your host, Jeff Barton.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. 888-713-2929 is the telephone number. If you pick up the phone, we can help you. We can talk to you about problems that you might be having trying to get a mortgage or trying to figure out what product to get. In San Bernardino and Riverside, I want to say hey to everybody out there. It's a terrific winter season. And why do I say that? Is because inventory is rising locally in both of those areas. And we have some terrific loan officers at Malibu Funding out there. And if you need somebody to talk to about your mortgage, you can go to our website, www.malibufunding.net. Malibu Funding is the sponsor for the show, and I want to thank those people for sponsoring the show each and every week, allowing me to get on the air and talk to you about problem solving for that house you want to buy, or maybe you want to downsize, sell what you have, and go get something else. I know that there's a lot of step-up market happening, which didn't happen for years and years and years after the 2008 what do we call it? The mortgage meltdown, I guess that's what we call it, or the catastrophe, or any number of other adjectives we could use. But since that time, in the last couple of years, what we've seen is a step-up market. Obviously, you get into a house, it's a starter home. Those are some of the terms that we've used historically. But if you get into a starter home and whatever the price is, and you're finding that you're doing a little bit better, you and your spouse are making a little bit more money, or you and your significant other want to buy something else, you want to step up, get a bigger house, maybe you've got a family, maybe you've got some retiring father and mother that need to move in with you because they've downscaled their house, and you all want to chip in and get a house. There are opportunities in the marketplace for all of that, especially in San Bernardino and Riverside counties, which are the coverage area for KMET and KCAA, a couple of the radio stations there. Up in the Tahoe area, we are happy that that is also one of the solutions that we can offer you, and we're glad. I've got a terrific couple of real estate agents, loan officers up in that area as well. So if you go to our website, malibufunding.net, you can see any number of 40 or 50 loan officers there who can help you. They're all real estate agents. They're all able to help you in that area as well. So, as I said, if you need that help, you can go to that website and we can absolutely help you. A couple of things in the news to use section. I came across this today and thought it's important. We're always talking about cybersecurity, right? Really, when you go online each and every day, and I've talked about other forms of how your data is collected from your searches, from the databases that you use, or from the websites that you use. Maybe it's Amazon, maybe you buy things there, or maybe you go to, I don't know, even smaller websites, but certainly on Facebook and YouTube and those you are going to have your data and what you do and search for collected and bought and sold to large companies. But if those large companies have people attack their servers and get in and steal web information, yeah, that's a problem. So I came across this. It's by Austin Kilgore, published January 23rd, Data Security, Data Management, Data Privacy, Mortgages, Mortgage Technology. Okay, here's the headline. A security lapse left millions of mortgage records exposed online without proper data protections. 24 million records were exposed in this fashion. Social Security numbers, tax data, mortgage originations, modification agreements, other information tied to tens and thousands of loans going back over a decade. Now, why is this important? Well, because obviously nobody wants their Social Security out there. Nobody wants their income. Nobody wants their address, their name, especially if you're hypersensitive to this type of stuff. And there's actually a syndrome called online hypersensitivity, meaning that you are so afraid of what's out there in the internet about you that you've taken great pains and you have gone to great lengths hiring professionals to remove all trace of you online. And that's a growing subset of internet users, meaning that they don't want anything. They use proxies, they use hidden names, they use false names and addresses in order to do their searching and buying, simply because that information about them is causing them a great deal of stress. So they're trying to reduce that by reducing their footprint online. But this really stems, this particular data breach, from 10 years ago when we had all of the information about a ton of these loans filtered through several companies. This particular company is called, and I will have it here in a second, what really happened here was that somebody hacked in, got into the databases themselves, and stole all the information. Now, I've been told, I don't know, Daryl, maybe you know this is true, I've been told that the reason these large data breaches occur is not because they want your personal information, but they want the information about you so that they can then sell this information to marketers and people who want to sell you stuff.
Well, we had a guest on earlier. This is all about the list.
It's all about the list, and I'd never heard that. Have you heard that?
No, I had not heard that term before.
And he seemed to think we were idiots. Well, I was an idiot because I had never heard it.
I had never heard it, but I can understand why.
Right.
Yeah. I have a very close friend that's in the sales and marketing business, and he buys lists at least once a month.
You know, I bought a list, and it was targeting a certain borrower, right, because I wanted to be able to broadcast what we do here on the Mortgage Voice to 10,000 names. And it's almost impossible to get a clean list.
But what they do now, as opposed to the list, from my understanding, is it's all about the hashtags.
Oh, I see.
What you do is there's a list somewhere of how many subscribers or how many people use those hashtags.
Now, have you ever clicked on a hashtag?
Never.
Okay, I haven't either.
No,
now, we're
either.
just a
But
couple of old
people
dudes.
do.
I guess they do.
Right.
You know, hashtag...
oh, my God.
OMG, yeah. Exactly right. Well, it's funny because I wrote an article, and I write them about once a month, maybe more, for LinkedIn, business website. And I hashtagged it 3 times. I don't know. Is there a place to find the most popular hashtags?
Yes, there is.
And how do you hashtag without having relevance to that particular hashtag?
Well, what you do is you look at the hashtags that are relevant and you do ones that have the highest numbers.
I see.
And use those. Is
there a hashtag cop out there who is policing this?
It's not being necessarily policed, but it's being recorded and counted.
Okay, so if for instance, I have a mortgage-related article on LinkedIn,
right,
and I put hashtag Tom Brady, which has no relevance, there's nobody that says that that's not relevant?
Well, people would go there and say, that isn't about Tom Brady, and they'd move on. So it really wouldn't do you a lot of good. But if you hashtag mortgage and hashtag mortgage does, plural, there's could be miles of difference between those two in terms of how many people use those. Yeah.
Now, and the hashtag world, there are popular hashtags that people use to place on whatever they're trying to have people go see, right?
Right.
And whether it's
Kardashian.
Okay. Mortgage Kardashian I could use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that has been used before. I'm always curious.
Go Gophers.
Okay, exactly. Okay, I can't find that company. I'm sorry. I wish I could. Who had the data breach? But just understand that these type of things happen, and they happen all the time. And the data breaches that happen both locally and nationally. Heck, we had Chase Manhattan Bank with their data breach not 2 months ago.
And then there are those vampires in the business that are hoping and waiting for that to happen every day.
Oh, what is that?
Data breaches.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think online, whether you're being marketed to legally, which to me is buying the information from large aggregators of that information, meaning people who collect information about you, then put it together with other people just like you, and then sell that list to somebody, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, any number of large people who collect this kind of information, or the smaller people who are just out there trying to, market to you. Yeah. Buying lists from listserv.com. I bought several lists from them.
But there are some things that we do for a living that we don't mind people contacting us for, right, if it's relevant. And if they have a product that we can use.
Well, that I think is the thrust of today's show.
It depends on how they approach you.
That's right.
If someone calls me and starts to read a script, I hang up. I'm done with
immediately.
that.
And don't call me again.
Yeah, please. Live person, reading a script, come on. If you want to have a conversation with me, you'll stay on the phone for 2 or 3 minutes. If you read a script, 9 seconds and you're gone.
Right. Hardest job in the world. Cold calling.
Yeah.
It's just really hard. Thanks for jumping in, Darryl. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody for listening to the show today. I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Mortgage Voice each and every week. We're on several times during the week. And again, thank you for listening. Go to KCAA KMET K Tahoe if you want to see or listen to the shows this week. And we'll see you next time.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. For more on today's topic, visit www.malibufunding.net.